Guys, Tyler here with Secure Team. So we have a bunch of different things to touch on today, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, the first story, the main story that I want to talk about is about this new piece of video footage from the International Space Station. Now, there's been multiple news reports about this that actually came from the space agency itself. So the rate of speed that they jumped on this story and quickly put it out there has me a little suspicious. And, well, if you haven't seen it yet, you'll read articles like this one titled, "Astronaut Luckily Captures Meteor Falling to Earth Aboard Space Station." And what you're seeing here is a video loop of the object. Basically, an astronaut by the name of Paolo Nespoli, who works for the European Space Agency, was up on the ISS and was, quote, lucky enough to have captured a, again quoting, fast fireball falling to Earth back on November 5th. The ESA put together a video in a time-lapse with a 1-second interval that shows the nighttime shots, and the meteor can be seen between the 7 and 8-second mark. The astronaut went on to say, quote, "It might be a re-entering piece of space debris, but from looking at the entry angle, it's coming in at too steep an angle." Rudiger Jen with the ESA's Space Situational Awareness Program said that the object was moving faster than typical. He said that this one was traveling at rates at a speed as high as 85,000 miles per hour. Going on to say, quote, "This speed is actually quite fast for meteoroids, which typically enter the atmosphere at around 20,000 miles per hour. And so when I saw this footage, I said, okay, well, that's interesting. They captured a meteor entering Earth's atmosphere, going at an extreme rate of speed. But then the more I looked at it, and I took an up-close view of this thing, I realized that whatever this object is, I think there's a good chance it may not be a meteor at all. Because, well, when you first watch the video, what many people may not realize if they're not familiar with watching these, sped-up space videos, is that this is time-lapse. And so, as you're seeing, which is obvious, the Earth just spinning at a very high rate of speed, and we see this flash of light coming into the atmosphere from space, and it does look to be, in this time-lapse sped-up footage, to be moving at around 80,000 miles per hour. However, when you account and you actually calculate how fast the Earth would have actually been moving had this not been sped up, and unfortunately they have not released, the regular speed version, you'll find that this object was actually moving much, much slower. And we're talking speeds that are lower than that of even the slowest meteorites coming into Earth. Now, another fun little fact for you is that astronauts in all of their time up in the International Space Station, they apparently have never been lucky enough to capture meteorites entering the Earth's atmosphere. It's always captured from down here on Earth. Now, what I was able to dig up was one other piece of footage where an actual meteor was captured speeding into Earth's atmosphere, and you're seeing that here. It's in the form of a still image, and it was captured during the 2011 Perseid meteor shower. And as you're looking at this image, beautiful shot, again taken at a very similar angle, you can actually tell that this is a meteor. And as you guys are looking at this, it's unmistakable. This is a meteor. You can see the long, fiery tail behind it. You can actually see the meteor itself, or what's left of it right here at the end. And we see this just long, stretching, beautiful, fiery tail that is potentially miles in length, stretching very thick before fading out into nothing. When you compare this to what they are calling a meteor in this new footage, and in this one we actually have video, at no time does this so-called meteor look anything like what was captured back in 2011. And it just doesn't. And what you're seeing here is about as close as I could get it to matching the speed, based on all of the other hundreds of thousands of videos that we have of them recording at regular speed. And this is about as fast as this object was going. And as you can see, it's much slower. And unlike this other meteor, the only other meteor ever recorded from the ISS, we see no tail, we see no object at the end. This object in every single frame completely retains its original shape. You know, it's just a little short, stubby looking object. Looks nothing like this other meteor here. We can see this discharge, this energy coming from it, vanish, where it then goes back to its original state before it entered the atmosphere, back to this small little cylinder almost looking shaped object before vanishing. And another thing that was strange about this is how quickly the space agency put out this story. You know, it was almost as if they had found something and that they knew that other people were going to discover it, and so they just went ahead very quickly and, you know, called all of these other media companies and said, do this story, we've captured a, quote, meteor entering Earth's atmosphere. And so within hours, before I even had a chance to discover it or someone sent it to me, stories were already being published about it. The story had already been put out. And, you know, that we already had it. So there was no investigating left to do. And my question is why they did this. Why were they so adamant about publishing this when they have never jumped on a story so fast? And we've featured numerous pieces of video of other strange things moving above the Earth in space, but they've never jumped on those. And in the article itself, the astronaut, again, while they're calling it a meteor, says point blank, well, this could have been some sort of space debris, but we don't think so. So that shows to me right there that they're not actually sure, so why are they just claiming it's a meteor if they're not sure? And furthermore, had this been a re-entry of space debris, they would know about it. They would know what it was. They will go to the suspected location where this thing is going to be falling so that they can recover it. So I highly doubt this is just some piece of space debris. And so, yeah, my question is, why did they suddenly jump on this? Why does the thing look nothing like a meteor? Why are they only giving us the sped-up time-lapse version and pretending that it's just the normal speed? It's all kind of suspicious. Are they covering this up? Did they quickly put out a cover story before anyone else put these pieces together? You know, that's just my opinion. So you guys tell me what you think. Does this object look like that from 2011? I certainly don't think so. Now, in other news, a stunning discovery and revelation out of Antarctica after what is being called a tree stump. And not only a tree stump, but a tree stump that is 280 million years old. Discovered still attached to its root structure sticking out of the rocks of Antarctica. So you're seeing that image here, the actual tree stump is here in the white. And if you guys didn't know, Antarctica was not always the land of ice, as it's called. Millions of years ago, when the continent was still part of the huge southern hemisphere landmass called Gondwana, trees and forest flourished near the South Pole. And now these newfound intricate fossils of some of these trees are revealing how the plants thrived. And so Antarctica actually has preserved an ecologic history of polar biomes that ranges about 400 million years, which is basically the entirety of plant evolution. And so this past year, there was a team down in Antarctica fossil hunting when they discovered what is called the oldest polar forest on record, saying that it probably flourished at about 280 million years ago before being rapidly buried in volcanic ash, which preserved it down to the cellular level. And this here is what you are left with after millions of years. But again, it does give evidence to the fact that not only was Antarctica once covered in rich greenery, but that it very may well have had structures there, buildings, civilizations, and that all of this talk of mysterious structures and things happening and visits to Antarctica by some very high-up people around the world may give credence to that idea, and that there very well may be something there or things that they are discovering. And that, according to some, there are actually still parts deep towards the center of Antarctica that are still warm and that are still covered in trees and grass, and that they have been hiding this from us. And you surely won't see it on any satellite images that they publish publicly anyway. So, interesting news. I love studying Antarctica and all of the mysteries of it. You guys give me your take. and tell me if you all think that there's something much more to some of this strange stuff we've found down there. And in the meantime, as always, stay tuned, subscribe if you haven't yet, share this video, follow me on